President Donald Trump is drawing a hard line in the sand with the European Union, announcing a major policy shift that could send shockwaves through international trade. In a fiery statement this week, Trump declared that the U.S. will no longer tolerate what he views as decades of unfair treatment by the EU, and he's ready to back up his words with serious action. Starting June 1st, 2025, Trump says a 50% tariff will be imposed on all imports from the EU.
I've been saying to everybody, they've treated us very badly over the years. It was formed in order to hurt the United States, in order to take advantage of the United States, and they've done that. We have a big deficit with them. They sell millions and millions of cars, as you know, Mercedes and BMW and Volkswagen and many others, and we were restricted from selling cars into the European Union, which is not nice. And I just said it's time that we play the game the way I know how to play the game. You know, they've taken advantage of other people representing this country, and they're not going to do that any longer.
Unless those goods are manufactured within the United States. The move is meant to correct what he describes as a deeply unbalanced trade relationship. According to Trump, the EU is designed in part to gain an economic edge over the U.S., and for years, they've done just that, through high import taxes, legal pressure on American companies, and regulations that make it harder for U.S. goods to reach European markets. The result, he claims, is an annual trade deficit of over $250 billion, a figure he calls unacceptable. Trump made it clear that the time for patient negotiation is over. They've had more than enough chances, he said in a recent interview. They keep taking and taking while we get blocked at every turn. That ends now. The president emphasized that European firms can easily avoid the new tariffs by setting up shop in America. The goal, he explained, is to bring more jobs and manufacturing back to U.S. soil. This announcement isn't coming out of nowhere. Back in April, Trump introduced a 90-day period, what he referred to as a grace window, to allow for a renegotiation of trade terms. But with that deadline fast approaching and no significant progress made, the administration is preparing to take action. Trump also took aim at the EU's internal politics, suggesting that its structure, where 27 member nations try to speak with one voice, makes genuine negotiation almost impossible. It's like trying to strike a deal with a ghost, one senior aide commented. No one's clearly in charge, and no one wants to take responsibility. Critics of the EU have long said the bloc is weighed down by bureaucracy and indecision. Trump's move is intended not just as a punishment, but as a wake-up call to European leaders. Either come to the table with a fair proposal or face serious economic consequences. With the clock ticking toward June 1st, the EU now faces a tough decision: compromise or brace for a sharp new phase in transatlantic trade relations.